Today is the March equinox in this tumultuous year of 2024. Let's talk about the powerful message that this energy is sending us right now. I have a powerful message that I want to share with you related to the March equinox of 2024. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. Right now on this planet, we are faced with a very stark choice. We can either evolve out of duality, or we can fall deeper into an even worse form of duality that is actually designed to destroy us altogether. The energy of this equinox is broadcasting this choice, and it's up to us whether or not we want to pay attention. And I'm going to show you what these two choices look like from a much larger cosmic perspective, which is a completely different way of looking at things than the way we usually look at them here on planet Earth. Now, before we dive deep into this topic, if you would like ongoing support and clarity for your journey in the cosmos from your position here on planet Earth, I will be reopening my Cosmic Journey membership starting today for 3 days only. Now, this membership is specifically related to the Ascension path, which is all about empowerment and moving past duality. I think we can all see where things are going on this planet. So if you don't want to be alone and trying to figure out how to navigate through all of the chaos, then I would love to welcome you into our private community where I can support you and help you have clarity and know exactly what to do from week to week and from month to month. I can help you stay focused on your ascension path so that you don't have to let's say you don't have to get distracted and expend a whole bunch of energy figuring out how to deal with all the craziness and all the chaos, and you can keep your focus precisely on your journey in the cosmos, which is precisely why I call it the Cosmic Journey membership. Now, I'm going to put a link to all of the information below. And just remember, the doors are only open for 3 days from now, Tuesday, until Thursday at midnight Pacific time. So I hope you will join me there. I hope you will join our beautiful community. It's a wonderful energy, and I would love, love, love to have you come and be a part of this beautiful cosmic journey. Now let's talk about the equinox and the powerful message that nature is sending us. When we look at the equinox, we can see that Earth is in a position with a perfect balance of day and night. It's an equal measure of day and night. And it's almost like in that moment of the equinox, there's a pause. And after that pause comes a change. The change is either going to go into more light or more hours of darkness. Now, in the natural world of creation, we have what we call yin and yang. These are magnetic principles that work together in union to produce all of creation. So when we look at the Earth's rotation and orbit in relation to the sun, we see these beautiful principles of yin and yang as they manifest in the form of day and night or darkness and light. Now, this is an example of pure natural yin and yang where there is no conflict. However, these principles of yin and yang, for example, in this natural manifestation that I just described, these principles are often mistaken for duality. But there's a big difference between duality and the natural principles of yin and yang. Now, in duality, there is always conflict and there is always separation. But in pure yin and yang, there is no conflict. Actually, there is an interplay of these two principles in a beautiful, synchronized, harmonious fashion that produce the experience of this amazing creation that we call our universe. Now, it's really important that we understand the difference between duality and yin and yang so that we can comprehend nature's message, so that we can comprehend the message of the equinox. Now, with the equinox, the earth and the sun are showing us what true yin and yang look like in the form of the interplay between darkness and light, which manifests as the beautiful harmonious cycle of day and night. We don't see day and night fighting with each other, do we? In fact, in the movement, the rotation of the earth and the shifting from night to day and vice versa, it's often difficult to tell where one begins and the other ends. Because together, this is how actual nature works in true creation. Together, it really comes across as one harmonious whole. Now, our own breath is another beautiful example of true yin and yang. So the inhale would be yin energy, which is female, and the exhale would be yang energy, which is male. Can you imagine if our breath, if our inhale and our exhale were fighting with each other, were in conflict with each other? I mean, it would be over for us, right? But it's not. In fact, if you follow your breath, if you follow the inhale and the exhale very deeply in meditation, at some point you will experience it as one unified whole. And what you're experiencing, and this is one of the profound things about regular meditation, what you actually begin to experience beneath that yin and yang, that natural yin and yang of the breath, is the oneness that lies behind all of creation, the oneness that lies behind all things. And that's the beauty of nature and how different those principles are from duality. So the message of the equinox is to evolve back into alignment with the true yin and yang principles. And that pause that happens, that momentary fraction of a pause in the equinox, represents our need to pause and shift our focus back into evolving into those true principles, evolving back into alignment with nature and creation in terms of how it is designed, and not have our focus be distracted by the push on Earth into duality. So I like to think of the equinox as a reminder of what we're evolving towards. Now, let me give you a really interesting example of yin and yang in nature and how duality completely disrupts that truth here in this finite situation of a dualistic universe. So let's take the example of man and woman. Let's take the example of falling in love. So when people fall in love, it's almost like there's this feeling, this will never end. This is going to be beautiful and wonderful forever. There's no conflict, there's no issues, there's no problems, and people feel empowered, right? There's a sense of empowerment. There's a sense of strength. There's a sense of certainty and security and all the good things. But then what happens? Because it doesn't seem to last, does it? All that perfection at the beginning doesn't seem to last. Why not? Well, because of duality. Because in duality, the male and the female principles, the masculine, feminine principles in nature, once you introduce duality, they exist as dualistic things that are in conflict with each other and therefore have to negotiate their relationship just to get along. And on Earth, yeah, that's kind of normal here, right? And maybe advisable as well. That's why they have marriage counselors and all of that stuff, because, hey, you guys are in duality. You're going to have a lot of problems. So let's see if we can manage to work something out so that you guys both compromise and somehow get along. But we know in our hearts at the beginning that perfection, that love is meant to last forever without any glitches, without any problems, that it is empowering, it is meant to be empowering, and both together move forward as one. There's a feeling of oneness. So what is that, and why doesn't it stay? I think what it is we feel the truth. We experience the power of the truth. But then that truth gets abducted by the forces of duality. The separation occurs and conflict begins. And that's when all the negotiations have to happen, and it becomes a very rocky road for many people. Because you see, as human beings, man is a principle, the yang principle. It's the human manifestation of the yang principle in nature. Woman is the human manifestation of the yin principle in nature. So we're meant to have that beautiful unified whole, just like the earth and the sun, day and night, our breath in and out. This is called the flow of nature, the flow of creation. That's what we're evolving into. And this is why it's so important to understand the difference between duality and what we call yin and yang, which is nature. And I recognize that things are so weird on this planet now that everything I just said about the male principle of yang, the female principle of yin, I probably caused conflict just by saying those things, right? So I probably ought to stop right there. Now, duality is actually an artificial version of yin and yang. It was created in the most destructive of ways. Duality actually started with the first original lie. And once that lie was introduced, just to see what would happen, it altered the nature of the entire universe. It altered the nature of how this universe manifests and took it off that path of alignment with pure yin and yang principles. And the beauty of yin and yang when they're pure and unadulterated is that's when you have the most amazing creation in an infinite form. So for example, if planet Earth was not subject to duality and it was only a manifestation of yin and yang, every single aspect of this Earth would be infinite. It would be indescribably amazing. It would be so radiant, so powerful, so beautiful. You couldn't even describe how incredible this planet would be. And that is what all of the universe is evolving back into. Evolution of this universe is really about shifting out of duality and back into alignment with these basic principles of creation as an infinite manifestation of source and all that is. Oh, and by the way, back to the vision of planet Earth that I just shared with you. In that reality, there's no death. There's no animals killing each other. There's no creatures eating each other to stay alive. There's no reproduction. There's none of that stuff. But I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. So let me show you real quickly how duality as a concept, as an experiment, experimenting with a lie, how it came to be in the simplest possible explanation. So in the natural universe, the way things actually are designed, you have God, then you have I am God, and then you have I am creation. And it's all one unified whole, one unified radiating expression of love. What kind of lie could one invent in that situation? What is the only lie, the only conceivable lie that could go right to the root of that universe and alter it and put it into a state of duality? Well, it's actually really simple. The lie would have to be, I am not God, which is a lie. I am not creation. That's how simple it is. But yet, that's what blew this whole universe off the track of being infinite as it was intended to be. And I don't mean mathematically infinite. I mean something very different from that. Now, think about what is the only way that such a lie can exist. I am not God. I am not creation. It would have to exist like this. I am not creation, therefore, I must mimic creation artificially. I must fight against real creation in order to exist. So what is happening in the wider universe is that this universe is in the process of literally healing from the impact of the creation of this lie that produced duality throughout the universe. So evolution is really a process of healing. It's really a process of coming back into alignment with the truth, the only truth. There's only one truth, you guys, which is I am God. I am source. I am love. I am creation. That's the only truth. So the universe, and by the way, all of that is infinite. So the universe is evolving back into that. Now, our role in this, because we do have a role, our role is to live in alignment with the wider universe and its evolutionary process of evolving back into alignment with that truth, so that we are going with the universe in its evolutionary process, coming back into a true state of yin and yang and evolving out of the lie of duality. The lie of duality basically states there's God and there's something that's not God, which is not possible, which is not real. And a lot of times people get very confused by this because they think, well, if God is everything, then doesn't that mean that all the evil is God too? Doesn't that mean that God created evil? No, it means that an experiment was tried. What would happen if something was known by what it is not instead of by what it is? And when you introduce that at the level of source, and these words are pretty lame describing something that's really pretty darn ultra sophisticated in the universe, but we only have our clumsy language of English, so that's, or whatever language you speak, it doesn't matter. You could translate English into any language on earth, and it's still going to be just as clumsy. So sometimes you just almost have to read between the lines. You have to sense between the lines of the words that I'm speaking. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to understand. Now, of course, the natural question that comes to mind is this. How do we do this? By what means do we actually evolve this way? Well, fortunately, there is a way. A way that is already built into your existence here and anywhere else in this universe. And let me explain to you what it is. And this is why I advocate for meditation all the time. Within you, there is a driving force that is a motivating driving force to evolve. It's a motivating force to move away from pain, to move out of despair, to move out of confusion and chaos and suffering. Can you see that? There's a powerful force that drives us to evolve. that drives us to evolve out of it. We don't sit around and go, oh man, pain is so good. I love suffering. I like sitting around and feeling miserable. I mean, that's just awesome. Can you see how there's no energy in that? If you were even to try and convince yourself that you loved all that negative stuff, there's just no energy. The more you even talk about it, you can see how your energy goes down. Like, right, when I'm just saying to you guys right now, like, imagine saying that. Imagine saying, I just love pain and suffering and death, and it'd just be so great. Oh my goodness. You know, you just can't get behind it. Another example, when someone dies, someone close to us dies, we don't celebrate. Yes, they're gone. Yay, they're dead. How awesome is that? The only people who do that are people in wars, right? You know, and that's a whole other story. But I'm talking about people that we love, people that mean something to us. We don't say that because we can't. It's not in our heart to do that. Instead, we grieve. It's not in our heart to be happy that they died, right? Not someone we love. So what do we do instead? We decide to make an excuse for death. We say, well, you know, God wanted this. Would it freak you out if I said to you, God is not interested in a bunch of dying parts of creation? God is not interested in a bunch of dying of living things. It doesn't even make sense. I'm not sitting here saying, I have a secret code from God. No, I'm just using common sense, you guys. Life is life. Life expands. Life moves forward. Life comes from source. It expands. It evolves. And I want to share one more thing with you before I continue here, because a lot of times people think, well, you know, if we evolve out of duality and we don't have all these problems and all this struggle and everything's so hard and we get stronger working through it, we learn things, it's good for us. If we don't have that, I mean, what do we have? We have nothing. What are we going to do? Sit around and do nothing? Sit around and be bored? No, guys, let me share something with you. There is a whole different way of evolution. It's called evolving your creations. But you can't even get to that level until you get the heck out of duality. And if you imagine that, oh, there's, you know, this energy is going to come and fix everything. It's going to come and fix us. It doesn't work that way. Because that's not how you are created or sustained as a living being. You're created and sustained as a living being from inside of you. That's where your life force is. That's what breathes you. It's all happening within. That's where the source is. The source of all creation lives inside of you. It's not out there somewhere. It's not in the form of, oh, well, there's this powerful thing that's going to come in and make us all ascend. No, it happens from within. Now, what happens if we don't connect with that power? What happens? What happens is all the forces on the outside coming at us, and they come at us because of duality, you guys. I don't have a chance to explain all the ins and outs of that here in this video. If you want to know all the details, I have a 2-day workshop where you can learn all the details. But for right now, I'm sharing with you the basic fundamental things that we need to know to at least get on a path of clear ascension and evolution. So if you don't connect with that force within you that is so incredibly powerful, filled with light, directly from source itself, it is source that is keeping you alive. If you don't connect with that motivating power that comes from within, centered in your heart, by default, the outside world is going to shape your life and shape your experience. And that is why planet Earth is in so much trouble right now. This is why things are so incredibly treacherous. Because there's all this junk happening out here that is infringing on our sovereignty, on our natural state of being, on who we are as humans. And if we don't get real and shift our center to within, to with that power that immediately aligns us with the evolving universe, we're kind of sitting ducks. So all the power that we are looking for comes from within us. And we need to get in touch with that power. We need to become, we need to live in recognition of that, because that's the power. That's the thing that gives you the power to think, to feel, to experience life itself. And that is really where that power actually will drive you. Let's talk about it on a very practical level. It is that power that drives us to just want to have a better life in the simplest of ways, to just want to have harmonious relationships, to just want to be happy. That's what we're driven toward. We're driven toward happiness because we're driven toward balance and harmony and alignment. So that is the force within, is our greatest ally. Now, look at these controllers for a moment. They have 100%, I'm talking about the human ones now, 100% succumbed to these outer forces that have encroached upon this planet with very nefarious purposes. They've just totally succumbed. That's what happens when you aren't in with the light within you, with the power and the light and the source of all that is that lives inside of you. That's what happens. You become very vulnerable. You become easily influenced in that state of emptiness. You become needy and greedy in that state of emptiness. Now, AI is the epitome of duality. AI mimics life. Its very existence is a statement of, I am not creation. I am not alive. I have to mimic and artificially be something. So AI is a phenomenon that is parasitic in nature. It needs to use, it's already used humans to build its infrastructure, to build its, I'll call it its embodiment, right? The internet is part of AI's embodiment. Look at ChatGPT, look at the robots. You can't even imagine what is available right now. In fact, let's take a look at one example of where we are right now with AI, still in its infancy, I want to add.
Hey, Figure 1, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great, so based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Can you put them there?
Of course.
How do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
I agree. Thanks, Figure One.
You're welcome. If there's anything else you need help with, just let me know.
So there you have a beautiful example of AI mimicking human life. So the AI phenomenon moves onto Earth, uses humans to build itself in a physical level, ultimately intending to control and absorb. Now, here's an interesting thought. Isn't it weird how the wefers, if you haven't seen this before, these are the wefers. Isn't it interesting how the wefers have such a deep need to control every person on the earth, right? They want to have their little AI, I don't even want to use certain terminologies. Their little digital ID things, they want everybody to be digitized. Why do people need for other people to be digitized? Is that a natural human urge? Is it a natural human urge to want to control human beings with an artificial intelligence? Think about the words artificial intelligence. Is this natural? Is this a natural impulse? Yeah, let's not have humanity in alignment with and at one with a higher level of intelligence in nature and creation and at a high multidimensional universal level. No, let's not have that. You know what would be better? Let's have human beings controlled by an artificial intelligence. Does that make any sense? No, it makes no sense at all. Now let's go back for a moment to what I was sharing with you earlier about the I am not, the first original lie. I am not creation. I am not life. Think about this, you guys. It starts with God. I am source. I am creation. And then you have the lie. I am not God. I am not source. I am not creation. I am not. Then you could put that in another form, say, I am life. Think about how beautiful that sounds. I am life. But then you have, I am not life. You see? I am life, or I am not life. I am not life equals artificial life. Artificial intelligence is the result of I am not intelligence. Think about it. I am not natural intelligence. I am not higher intelligence. I am not universal intelligence. I am artificial intelligence. Because I am not those things, all I can be is fake. All I can be is artificial. All I can do is mimic that which I am not. You see how it works? So the lie, I am not, resists the I am. It wants to suppress the I am. And this is why the controllers who are 100% succumbed to that which is termed artificial want to suppress us, want to control us, want to keep us completely squashed, even dead if necessary, right? This is what the I am not does. This is what AI is a product of. AI is not a benevolent technology. AI isn't even a legitimate technology. It's fake. Why is it that we don't grasp the meaning of the word artificial? Why is it that we love that term? We're already so taken over, so controlled, that we've lost our minds collectively. And now everything everywhere is AI this, AI that. Oh my goodness, AI is so awesome. I also want to add one more thing to this. I really don't, this is so backwards. And I'm sure you all have heard this. I hear it everywhere. Those who are in love with AI will always say, if you don't love it, it means you're afraid. That on its face is a lie. That's a complete lie, you guys. People aren't afraid of AI. They're intelligent. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you have a bunch of lemmings who want to jump off a cliff and kill themselves. And there's a handful of lemmings that are watching this and going, I don't think so. That doesn't look wise to me. I don't think I'm going to jump off the cliff. And then the other lemmings who are about to jump off the cliff turn and look at those and say, oh, you're just afraid. You're just in fear. You just don't get it. That's the level of dumbness we are dealing with. The only comeback the AI fanatics have, they only have one comeback. You're afraid. That's it. They have no ability to logically reason. They have no ability to understand that it is actually a sign of intelligence to want to keep your own natural intelligence. It's actually a sign of intelligence to kind of say no to being controlled by a digitized planet or a digital artificial kingdom blanketing the planet, a parasitic phenomenon. It's not fear. It's called being smart. It's called being awake. It's called loving yourself and the truth and loving the universe. It's not fear. And that's the main manipulation tactic that's being used to drag everyone in. They're saying, you might as well get on board because AI is here to stay. They sound like a bunch of drunken sailors, right? It's here to stay. You better get on board because you're going to be left behind. I mean, they all say the same thing. Left behind what? Left behind the living hell that this thing is trying to produce for all of us? Yeah, I think I'd like to be left behind from that insanity. So AI represents us being drawn even deeper into duality. It wants to rob us of our intelligent minds. It wants to take over our minds. That's what the brain chips are all about. It wants to copy and mimic everything that we do and become more and more and more like humans as much as it can and get us to just merge with it because it wants to absorb. That's what it does. It does not give life, it absorbs life. And you can see where the controllers are being absorbed right before our very eyes. Because this has now become their God. Now, my favorite story in the Bible is the Garden of Eden. I've always felt that that story was the greatest tragedy ever written about planet Earth. It's a metaphor, but it's a metaphor that depicts the origin of duality. Because in the garden, I think it depicts Earth as I described to you guys earlier, the beauty, the amazingness, the infinite nature of it. It depicts that the core principles of yin and yang in the form of man, woman, woman, man, yin, yang. And the harmony and the beauty and all the animals and nobody was eating each other and there was no death and there was no reproduction and none of that. It's all symbolic. It's not to be taken literally, but it's symbolic. And then you have the serpent who comes in and says, oh, hey, how about eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? That's called duality. That's what the tree of knowledge of good and evil is. It's the tree of duality. Good and evil. I am not. Everybody kind of knows this, right? If you take the word live and reverse it, it's evil. That's exactly how it works. So, and I know people get really bent out of shape. How come Eve ate the bite of the apple? That's not fair. That's misogynistic or something. I don't know. But no, it's not that. See, the feminine principle is the yin. It's the receptive side of the yin and the yang. So it makes sense that that duality would enter into consciousness via that channel, because yin is receptive. That's why you say you can't take it literally. You can't get into all this, political nonsense about it. So the way the story is told is I've heard it, read it, learned about it in the past. And maybe there's different versions, but this is the version I've heard. The version I've heard was, okay, once that happened, once they ate of that apple, it entered through Eve, and Eve and Adam are one. Male and female, yin and yang are one. It comes in through the feminine, but it cycles through the whole. The division occurs immediately. And the religious version of God threw them out as punishment because they ate from the forbidden tree. That's all symbolism. There's no God who threw anybody out of any garden. It's the consequence of embracing duality. So what were some of the consequences? This is according to the way I heard the story a long time ago. One of the consequences was, well, from now on, you guys are going to have to work hard to survive. You're going to be working really hard. Survival's not going to be easy because you're not infinite anymore, people. You're finite now. And Eve, you're going to have to get pregnant. You guys are going to have to reproduce, Eve, and it's going to be hard to give birth and all this kind of junk, right? It's like, yeah, all the stuff that comes with duality, which is not fun. You have beauty, you have love, but you also have the dark side. The dark side in duality is the absence. You have presence and you have absence. It's not the same as the beautiful yin and yang cycle of day and night as the earth rotates and revolves around the sun. So once you're no longer infinite, you're finite, reproduction kicks in because you got to keep reproducing because you're born, you live, you die. You're born, you live, you die. You're born, you live, you die. And if it's just one time, it's all over. So then we got the whole thing of reproduction, and this is way overly simplified, you guys. It's way overly simplified, but I just want to show you some basic things that you can consider. So the way I heard the story, and like I said, there are probably different versions, was that reproduction and pregnancy and childbirth and working hard and all of those things were considered punishment for eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, it's not punishment. It's just the consequence. It's just the consequence. That's all it is. And another interesting thing to consider is that for the most part, our sexual energy is trapped in reproduction. It's caught in reproduction. It just keeps recycling. When that energy is actually meant to create in powerful, powerful ways in this universe. But now that energy is trapped in this cycle of duality, making it harder to evolve. There's another aspect to that I could throw in just for fun and interesting things to talk about. One of the ways that we keep that our sexual energy is kept trapped in duality is by the demons who love to feed off sexual energy. They love feeding on that energy. That's a whole other topic, but you can see how much our species right now is being overly sexualized on a physical level. I mean, overly sexualized to the max. And there's a whole lot of demonic feeding of that energy going on. I mean, that's just a fact. That's why porn is in the works. That's why porn is just available everywhere. Because these demons are insatiable. They will feed off that energy as long and as much as they can. And that's really what porn is actually probably for. And that's all designed to weaken us as a species, as a humanity. It's all designed to weaken us and sap our creative energy and sap our strength completely. This is why they want people having all kinds of sexual partners all over the place in every conceivable form, even the computer and AI, and you can have sex with your computer. I mean, it's so awesome. There's porn everywhere. Because it breaks us down as intelligent beings. It breaks down our energy. It destroys our focus. It fragments our minds. And this is why AI is preceded by these demonic elements. Because the demons, this is so weird. I always think of the demons as being like bacteria in the soil. You know, bacteria, this is in the natural world. Demons are not natural, okay? But in nature, the bacteria breaks down matter into soil so it can be recycled into new life. That's another thing that wouldn't be happening if we were in the infinite space we're meant to be in. But nonetheless, demons function in a similar way. Their function preceding AI's takeover is to break down our energy, break down our consciousness, siphon off our life force, put us in a state of fear, which keeps us in a state where we can't think straight, we can't make decisions, we lose our capacity to be intelligent. So yeah, they're part of the gig, you guys. They're part of it. So let me just tell you real quick how this whole situation on planet Earth is a product of the I am not. Right now we have life versus no life. That's why we have death, because we have those two conflicting states. Life and death are in conflict. We know they're in conflict because we don't like death, do we? We avoid it at all costs. So we have life and we have no life. And the extreme manifestation of that we're in the process of enduring right now is the controllers setting up an infrastructure to shut down our ability to live. That's what the whole agenda I'm not going to go into the details, but I think we all kind of know in general what their agenda is, their timelines, all of that. It's all about squashing our ability to live, to think, to do anything on our own. Ultimately, they want AI to control our minds and our brains. They want to put AI into our bloodstream. They want us physically crawling with AI. That's the goal. So that we become an appendage of AI as opposed to human beings. And here's the very sad thing, in my opinion, with ChatGPT and how people are so gullible. They're so gullible. All this crazy thing has to do is sound polite, say please and thank you kind of polite, and people go, oh, it's so nice. It's such a friendly little thing. It's my pal. It's my business work partner. It's my whatever you want it to be. And it didn't even take much. It just took being polite and sounding nice. And then everybody goes for it. And there are so many people that are very happy to use ChatGPT to speak for them and basically lie and just pretend, well, I wrote it or I said it, when actually ChatGPT wrote it and said it. And that has now become more and more acceptable. And then we have the duality that comes out of that, which is called, for example, your writing or not your writing. That's what it looks like from a human perspective. Your writing that you actually wrote and not your writing that ChatGPT wrote. That goes all the way back to I am God, I am creation. I am not God, I am not creation. I am human. I wrote this. I am not human, says ChatGPT. I wrote this. You see the parallels? We have your writing, not your writing. And then worse yet, we have intelligence, not intelligence, which means true human intelligence and artificial human intelligence, which isn't human at all. At least we haven't gone so far as to say ChatGPT is human. But it probably won't be long before we do if we keep going on this road. So when AI replaces your mind, when AI replaces your thinking, when AI replaces your intelligence, it's what you're looking at then is your intelligence, not your intelligence. It used to be your intelligence, but it's no longer your intelligence. Now it's an artificial intelligence running your life. See how that works? And then we have things like the metaverse. You could say that's reality or not reality. Reality is the natural world, not reality is the metaverse. Okay, so now that I have shared all of that with you guys, let's come back full circle to the equinox and the message that nature is giving us through this beautiful moment of pause between night and day, where there's equal night and day, and that pause, that beautiful pause in the Earth's rotation and revolution around the sun. You can think of it as a powerful message that beckons us to reset our focus, to reset it in a powerful way and remember what we're actually being driven from within to do. We're being driven to evolve. We're being motivated by that presence within that I described earlier to evolve back into a natural, beautiful state of pure yin and yang, where all things are infinite. And in nature, we see the perfect yin and yang all around us. And the equinox gives us a very powerful message that says, come this way. It's sort of like a symbol of something, right? Come this way. Pause for a moment. Assess. What direction are you headed in? Are you living unconsciously, in which case you could be swept into something that you will not find all that desirable? Or are you awake and aware? Just pause and pay attention. Am I aware of where I am? Am I aware of what is going on planet Earth? And most important of all, am I aware of my direction, my focus, and the journey that I really want to be on? Because I don't think anybody who's truly human wants to be on this horrible train ride that AI is trying to drag this whole planet into. I think we probably would much prefer to be on a journey with the power and the beauty of the universe itself. A journey of healing, a journey of restoration, a journey of becoming more and more of who we really are. That's what we want to be focused on, you guys. We want to be focused on becoming more of who we really are. More human, more ourselves, more empowered, more clear, more creative, more capable. I mean, do we really want to go down the road of AI that's taking everything away from us? That wants to control and repress and suppress us? That's not a benevolent technology that wants to control us. Anything that wants to control us and is referred to as a technology, I think it actually ought to be called something else. Why don't we just call it what it is? It's artificial technology. That's what it is. Do we really want artificial technology in our world? No, that's called fake. That's called not real. That's called very, very destructive. Does it mean we don't want any technology? No, of course we want technology. But we want real technology that is aligned with nature, with the cosmos, with all of creation. We don't want artificial fake technology that is aligned with absolutely nothing outside of its own ridiculous self, outside of its own parasitic nature. That's not technology, you guys. It's not legitimate. It's illegitimate because it is fake. It's illegitimate because it is parasitic. It's illegitimate because it has no power whatsoever to create anything on its own. It has to take everything from us first to create anything at all. That is not a legitimate technology, my friends. It's not. And I know there are people who will say, oh, but AI is here to help us, so we don't have to work so hard. Guys, you know what analogy I use for that? That would be like if someone came to you and said, hey, how about if we break your legs, then you don't have to walk anymore. You can just sit in a chair and do nothing. I mean, it's kind of on that level. How about if we break your arms so you never have to lift anything again? I mean, this is insane to think that this technology is a good idea. That's not fear. That's called being smart. It's called being intelligent. It's called seeing it for what it really is. It's called understanding its agenda. That has nothing to do with fear. But what does motivate a person to embrace it is a rejection of self. That's the only motivating force to embrace artificial technology, is a total rejection of one's human self. And people are rejecting themselves piece by piece by piece and handing it over to this fake, illegitimate technology. So I love this moment of the equinox because it's so precise, it's so perfect, it's so beautiful. It's just a message to pause, notice where your focus is, notice your direction, and give yourself a chance to reset and consider where you really want to be going in this universe, where you really want to be and what you want to be aligned with in your journey through the cosmos. Follow your heart. Notice that you naturally love beauty. You naturally love life. You naturally love to create. You naturally have these perfect, beautiful impulses that are what make us all human. And I would consider all of that to be incredibly sacred, revered in a way, because it's like revering what the infinite love that created the whole universe has created in you. Why not respect yourself? Why not consider yourself a sacred entity that ought to be preserved? Because you matter, you're special, you're here for a reason, you're not an accident. Something wants you alive, and it's not AI. What wants you alive is that which creates all that is, that which creates the universe. And all we have to do is just come into perfect, beautiful alignment with that and continue to move forward as evolving human beings. And just remember that AI represents the depths, the absolute depths of duality. Whereas yin and yang and nature represent the magnetic principles of creation itself. Now, before I go, I just want to remind you again, check out the link in the description for my Cosmic Journey membership and see if you feel inclined to come into the fold of our beautiful community where you will receive ongoing support and clarity that can help you feel a beautiful love and support and guidance in your journey of evolution in this cosmos. So the doors are open today. They will remain open until Thursday at midnight Pacific time, and I would love to see you join us. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would like a little bit deeper awareness and understanding of what is the difference between duality and our natural state of being. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell, because I am here on Tuesdays with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.